Hello, this is Raheem Hassan coming to you from the Automation Innovation 2014 inaugural conference. And I have the pleasure of sitting here and speaking with Frank Casale, our founder and CEO. So Frank, after 21 years of operating the Outsourcing Institute, you've launched a new venture in the Institute for Robotic Process Automation. Why did you make the pivot? Why the change?
So Raheem, first off, welcome to today's conference. We have a great day scheduled, and I'm happy to see we're able to squeeze in a couple of video shoots with some of today's speakers and thought leaders. But it's interesting that we have this conversation today because this month actually marks the one-year anniversary of the Institute for Robotic Process Automation, as you may know, because you helped us kick it off. So, 21 years ago, I stumbled across outsourcing. In June of 1989, Kodak did a significant outsourcing deal, and that caught my attention. It was big, it was controversial, it was an IT deal that was not done within the IT department. It was really done at the board level, if you will. It was a significant strategic business decision. So in June of '89, when I saw that, I instantly became interested, certainly intrigued by outsourcing. I became a student, if you will, in the late '80s of outsourcing, and I was convinced at that point that outsourcing was here to stay, and it would have a significant impact on the industry overall. The challenge I noticed in the industry was that people didn't really seem to fully understand how to do it, who to do it with. There seemed to be no one central place for people to go to get best practices into network, if you will. So I decided I wanted to play in this arena. And so in 1993, we started the Outsourcing Institute to create a network and to kind of help either, I'm not sure we wanted to ride the wave or help kind of drive the wave. Maybe we did a little bit of both. So, here we are 21 years later, and I feel like I'm seeing this movie all over again with robotic process automation. All of about a year and a half ago, I just started stumbling across stories and meeting people that had interesting things to say about robotic process automation and autonomics, and the more I became closer to it and the more familiar I became with it, the more it dawned on me is this is the next wave. I mean, this stuff is better, it's faster, it's cheaper, and it couldn't come at a better time when most outsourcing relationships, or I would even say service relationships, are kind of in the eighth inning. They're kind of running out of steam, and the buyers are looking for more value add. They're looking for greater innovation. So this is a combination of, I would say, kind of the right technology at the right time. So here we are again, setting up another network to play that role, if you will.
So you spoke of the ecosystem. So we have the buyers and the providers and the influencers. What impact do you see robotic process automation having on that ecosystem?
Yeah, so similar to what we did with the Outsourcing Institute, we didn't want to be a network for one of the players. We want to be a network for really the entire ecosystem. So we break our network down into really three broad categories: buyers of the services, providers of the services, and really the influencers, which is for the most part a catch-all for all others, the advisors, the analysts, the lawyers, if you will. And like outsourcing, robotic process automation will have an impact on each of these players. In a nutshell, for the buyers, it's all goodness. 25 to 40% cost savings, speed, greater analytics, better quality, better scalability. It's all goodness for the buyers. For the service providers, it's a double-edged sword. And maybe I'll come back to that in a moment. For the advisors, they just need to kind of get this, embrace it, and really kind of get their brain around this and get their teams around what this is and how it will impact their model. For example, in the advisory scenario, if a good part of what you're doing has to do with offshoring or destination selection, labor arbitrage is in the process of becoming irrelevant. So you want to start to shift away from that business because we're going to go from onshore to offshore to no shore, right? So if your practice is predominantly offshore, you better get this quick and make the shift. Back to the service providers, it is a double-edged sword. So if you're looking for new business, new logos, then you have a wonderful opportunity here to come in with aggressive pricing and really better deliverables. However, the threat is your existing base. So every single service provider now that has a significant base of customers, those customers are at risk of being won over by someone else. So if I look into 2015, this next wave of deals that come up for expiration is going to be a bloodbath. So, warning to those, do everything you can, pre-contract expiration to really secure that client. Maybe even see you can renegotiate an extension or an expansion of that deal. So that's the win, and that's the risk and the reward right now.
I know that one of the major priorities and focuses over the last year has really been around educating the marketplace. And there have been some interesting pieces that actually you have actually written yourself over the last year. Here Come the Robots, Brace for Impact, Is This the End of Outsourcing as We Know It? And the latest one is SHIBLA, SHIBLA, The Shift Beyond Labor Arbitrage. Can you just talk a little bit about some of these themes?
Oh, sure. So let's start with SHIBLA. And by the way, it was good to hear you spell that, because I wasn't even sure myself how to spell that. But obviously, the shift beyond labor arbitrage, that's a big one. This entire business that we're in has been, and the entire business model is based on labor arbitrage, right? Less expensive people in faraway exotic lands. So as we see this shift towards robotic process automation, whereby there's less of a dependency on traditional labor, and it's more centered around software, offshore begins to become irrelevant, because this software is better than offshore, better than nearshore. It's less expensive. It's 20-30% cheaper than India. So I would go as far as saying if RPA in 1993, when I kicked off the Outsourcing Institute, if RPA was in place then, people wouldn't have outsourced. Why would you need to outsource? This is a better alternative. So now you're going to see this trend of all those outsourcing deals, all those offshoring deals, all those labor arbitrage-centric deals, really becoming mostly software deals. So again, mixed blessing. It's an opportunity, but it will create a lot of tumult in the industry.
Hey, this is an exciting time. I'm looking forward to 2015. Frank, thank you for taking the time.
My pleasure. Thank you, buddy.
All right.